Chomish the Chenjer engine. Chomish was exhausted. He'd been working day and night hauling goods trains back and forth along the railway. He wasn't tired. As long as he had fire and water, he could keep working without any problems. Edward was the same way, but he was bigger than Chomish. He mostly handled passenger trains during the day, and helped Chomish with the goods at night. The two engines did their best, and the trains were running to time, and Chomish was determined not to give up. He knew what the big engines would say about common tank engines if he failed. One day, he tried to move a rake of vans, but they were too heavy for him. I had no choice but to hire a lorry to take some of the weight off. Not one word to the big engines, I confided. We mustn't let them know you, Edward, and Percy had help. There was a loud honking, and a blue lorry sputtered into the yard.
"Hi, I'm Randy,"
he said.
"I'm here to take your work." "I'm Thomas, and you're only taking 1 truck's worth of cargo,"
said Thomas.
"You can't take all this."
"I've got brothers," smirked Randy.
"We'll take all the goods your big engines can't handle anymore."
"It would take scores of lorries to pull the goods we engines can take," scoffed Chomish. Chomish finally started off feeling more confident. But it didn't last long. This wasn't a slow goods, but he still had to stop at every other station to take on fuel. He tried to be careful on Gordon's Hill, but the trucks tried to push him, and he skidded several yards before he and Dancehall could bring the train to a stop. It was just as bad at the loop station. He was to stop here to refill his tanks. On, yelled the trucks. It was all Thomas could do to stop them from pushing through the buffer stops and into the river beyond again. By the time he reached the end of the line, he felt worn out.
"My brakes are killing me,"
he groaned. He saw Randy in the yard and did his best not to show his exhaustion. But his return journey was no better. When at last he returned to the big station, I could see something had to be done to ease his burden. "What you need," I said to him, "is something to give you more fuel and brake capacity."
"Yes, sir,"
breathed Thomas.
"Does that mean I'll need to stock up on boxes of lamps again?"
"No, this calls for something more drastic," I decided. "I'm having you fitted with a Chenjer." Thomas spluttered.
"Whatever will Gordon say?"
"Gordon will say nothing at all," I said in a hushed voice. "He's not to know, nor Eunice and the other big engines. Remember what I said. We must let them think you, Edward, and Percy ran the railway on your own. When I decide the time is right to let them out, you'll have your Chenjer removed." Chomish said nothing. I arranged a nighttime goods train so we could have an excuse to go to the workstation. At first, Chomish didn't mind being at the works.
"At least I can have a nice rest,"
he sighed as his fire died out and the engineers began flushing his boiler and adjusting his pipes and couplings. But all too soon, Thomas was being steamed up again, and he backed down onto his auxiliary Chenjer with a very red face. Edward made no remark when Thomas returned to work, but Percy laughed when he saw him.
"Fancy a proud common tank engine like Thomas getting himself a tender like those big-headed strikers."
"Don't go shouting about that," hissed Thomas.
"Sir Top Hat said the big engines mustn't know about this."
Percy was disappointed. He wanted to see Gordon's reaction. Thomas was soon backing onto his next goods train. He heard a familiar honking, and a thought struck him.
"If that boastful lorry sees me, he'll know I can't handle the work without help. And if the big engines get let out, he'll blab to them."
Randy sputtered by.
"Feeling stronger, eh?"
he grunted.
"Taking more trucks. Just you wait. Your strength won't hold out, and me and my brothers will take all your loads."
And off he went. The Chenjer Chomish was carrying was an old one, and no one had bothered to clean it. Randy apparently mistook it for a truck. Chomish's journey went smoothly. He didn't have to stop so often for coal and water, and with the extra 6 wheels worth of brake power, it was easier for him to control the trucks when they tried to push him. The extra weight of the Chenjer wasn't too bad for him either, but all the same, he was glad when he was given a passenger train next.
"Do I still need my tender?"
he asked me. "It would take too long to detach and reattach between goods trains," I told him. "You'll have to be a T+T engine for the remainder of the big engine strike, I'm afraid. Don't worry, Chomish. You're doing better than I expected, and I'm very proud of you."